In this video, we are looking at how FastAPI turns your Python objects into JSON responses, and at a utility called JSON-encoder that gives you fine-grained control over that conversion when you need it. By the end, you will know exactly when FastAPI handles this for you and when you need to step in yourself. Here is the pain. You have a Pydantic model with a datetime field and a UUID field, and you want to send it as a JSON response or save it to a database. The moment you call Python's built-in JSON-dumps on that object, you get a type error, because the standard library has no idea how to serialize a datetime or a UUID. You end up writing the same tedious conversion code everywhere, and it is easy to miss a field. Think of it like packing for an international trip. Your laptop is perfectly functional, but the wall socket in the destination country has a different shape. You do not rebuild the laptop, you use a travel adapter. JSON-encoder is that adapter. It takes your rich Python objects and reshapes them into the plain dictionary and string form that JSON can accept, without altering the underlying data. FastAPI already calls JSON-encoder internally every time it serializes your return value into a response. But JSON-encoder is also a public function you can import and call yourself. It converts a Pydantic model, a datetime, a UUID, or a nested mix of all three into plain Python dictionaries, lists, and strings, the types that JSON can handle. Notice it does not give you a JSON string, it gives you safe Python primitives that are then easy to pass to JSON.dumps, a database, or a JSON response. Let us walk through this. We import JSON-encoder from FastAPI.encoders and define an item model with a UUID, a string, and a datetime. In the first route, get_item_auto, we simply return an item instance. FastAPI sees the return type annotation, calls JSON-encoder internally, and sends a properly formatted JSON response. The UUID becomes a string, and the datetime becomes an ISO 8601 string, all without any extra code from us. In the second route, create_item, we call JSON-encoder ourselves, passing the incoming item. This gives us a plain Python dictionary called safe_data. Now we can hand that dictionary to a database driver, pass it to another service, or, as shown here, pass it directly to JSON response as its content argument, which expects a JSON-safe value. When a request arrives, FastAPI runs your path operation function and takes whatever you return. Before writing the HTTP response, its internal response layer calls JSON-encoder on that value. The encoder walks the object recursively. If a field is a Pydantic model, it calls .dict on it. If a field is a datetime, it calls .iso format. If it is a UUID, it calls str, and so on. The resulting plain Python structure is then handed to JSON.dumps. When you call JSON-encoder yourself, you are simply stepping into that same process early, so you can use the safe data before the response is ever built. The rule of thumb is simple. If you are only returning a value from a route function, FastAPI encodes it for you, and you do not need to touch JSON-encoder at all. Reach for it explicitly when you need the safe, plain Python form of your data before the response layer sees it. For example, inserting into a database, forwarding to a third-party service, or constructing a JSON response with custom headers. Avoid using it as a substitute for proper response model validation, and do not use it just to produce a JSON string. That is what JSON-dumps is for. 3 things to carry away. First, FastAPI's automatic serialization handles the common case. Just return your Pydantic model, and complex types are converted correctly. Second, JSON-encoder is a real, importable function you can call yourself whenever you need that conversion to happen earlier in your code. Third, it gives you plain Python primitives, not a JSON string, so it slots naturally into database writes, custom response construction, or data forwarding without any extra step.